Hey guys, what's up? It's PowerUpBoxing. So Floyd Mayweather, he's returning to the ring, and I think he said 2020. He posted on Instagram that he was coming back, and I just want to know what you guys think about that. I seen it coming. There's money on the table still for him to claim, and yeah, I think he's just gonna milk it for more money. Milk whoever he fights. He'll fight probably an MMA fighter. I'm hearing, because he posted on his official Instagram account he's coming back out of retirement in 2020, and Dana White apparently posted the same thing. That's what I heard. I never checked Dana White's Instagram actually, but that's what I heard. Uh, so if they're both posting the same thing, you would think they have a deal going on, and there's going to be an MMA fight happening, uh, and that's going to be stupid unless it's an MMA fight. But it's not going to be an MMA fight. He didn't even let a 120-pound Japanese 5'4" guy use his kicks against him. So why would he allow a fully trained MMA fighter? Why would he fight that? He's not going to fight an MMA fighter in the cage. He's going to fight an MMA fighter in boxing rules, and it's people are going to watch. He's going to make money, and it's going to be a joke, just like the fight in Japan, just like the Conor McGregor fight. Even though McGregor did all right, it's a joke. A guy who's never boxed before is supposed to beat Floyd Mayweather. Like, come on, that's not a competition. That's just a money grab for Floyd Mayweather, and you can't blame him. If you're him, you're laughing, right? So you can't really blame him. If you're him or his family and friends, they're like, yeah, go do it, easy money, right? But like, if he does come back, like he says he's going to, I think he should fight Manny Pacquiao again. That's just my opinion. Because not only will he make a lot of money, probably the most money, he'll make more money if he fights Pacquiao than if he fights someone in MMA. Unless he's gonna fight someone who's like he's gonna fight like John Jones or someone like that in a boxing match. Even then, John Jones doesn't have the same uh, marketability as Conor McGregor or Manny Pacquiao, so it's not going to sell as well. So yeah, I think Manny Pacquiao is really his only option to make a lot of money, to make the most money, and yeah. So that's if he's going to come back, Manny Pacquiao is probably the best option for him as well, not just money wise, but because Pacquiao is around, they're from the same generation. They started their boxing career around the same time, mid 90s, and they're both over 40 years old. So it's a fair fight. Obviously, I'd give Pacquiao the advantage just because he's been more active. But other than that, he'll make the most money, and people will want to watch it. I know there's people that say, "Oh, I don't want to see it again," but that's they're lying. They do want to see it again. Those are the people that don't want to see Floyd lose, in my opinion. That don't want to see him fight Pacquiao again because, in my opinion, sure, it wasn't the most action-packed fight, but if you're a boxing fan and you actually say, "Oh, I like the science of boxing," then you would have liked that fight because it was a chess match. Even though Pacquiao only had one arm, I still thought he won. But if you watch the fight for the boxing science and you're focusing on what they're doing in the fight, it was a high-level boxing match between the two highest-level boxers, and it was exciting in that sense. But if you want just pure action and slugging, obviously that's not the fight you would want to watch. But those same people that say they love the boxing science and they say, "Oh, it's not boring and stuff," are the same. Those same people are saying that fight was boring. But how was that fight boring when you say you like that kind of fight? You know what I mean? You say you like Floyd Mayweather's style, even though he's not throwing that many punches. You like or any other fighter who's boring, right? Like, who doesn't throw that many punches and just counters and on the back foot. You like that style, but then you said you don't want to see that fight again because it was boring. So that doesn't make sense because boxing science wise, in the skill level that was displayed by both fighters in that fight, you could see it. That's why the fight was not as they weren't throwing as many punches. It's because both high level boxers. You know what I mean? So plus Pacquiao only had one arm, still won though. But anyway, I still enjoyed that fight. I thought, like I said, it was a high level chess match. Uh, so I'd like to see it again. It'll probably be better this time because Pacquiao, his arm's better, right? So his arm's healed up. His right rotator cuff was injured in the last fight. If you didn't know, he tried to get a injection, a numbing fluid in his shoulder to ease the pain going into the fight. Right before the fight, it is legal in the state of Nevada to get that injected in your hands or in an injured spot of your arm or whatever. They denied Pacquiao to get it, but yet they injected it in Floyd Mayweather's knuckles, his hands, and he's allowed a legal IV in his own home 10 times over the limit. You're not allowed to do that. And if you do go over the certain amount of IV fluid that's allowed, you have to be in a hospital room, like a hospital setting, to do that. You're not allowed to do it in your own home. So yeah, like a lot of things would be different. Pacquiao's been more active, Floyd hasn't, but it's still good for Floyd because if he comes back and fights Pacquiao, he still earns respect because he gets the money and he's fighting a real boxer. You know what I mean? But if he comes back and fights an MMA fighter, that's just a joke, and he's not going to make as much money. Sure, it'll be easier, and maybe he just wants that, right? But yeah, other than Pacquiao, that's his best option, and it's probably the fairest option because Pacquiao's his age too. Like we don't expect Floyd to come back. Like I don't expect him to come back and fight Canelo. I don't expect him to come back and fight Crawford. That's like the guy has been inactive for so long, and like you can't expect a 42-year-old man who's been inactive to fight one of those guys. Like he can if he wants to, like respect if he does, but we're not expecting that from him, and it's okay, right? Like it's not nothing bad if he doesn't accept one of those young guys, but for Pacquiao, he'll still get the respect for fighting a real boxer and he'll make the most money. So I think it's a win-win for him. Sure, he might lose on the record. He might lose to Pacquiao, but the judges are always on his side anyway. So I think it's a smart bet for him to fight Pacquiao. Even if he loses, he's still like obviously his record is 0 on his record means everything, but it's better than fighting an MMA fighter because you're not going to get any respect from the fans for doing that. You're just going to affect your legacy actually fighting these silly fights like McGregor, the Japanese fighter, Berto. This isn't helping his legacy. And then you got Pacquiao, who's fighting Keith Thurman, Jesse Vargas, Timothy Bradley, Jeff Horn. He's fighting all these guys that were undefeated or were decent fighters, B+ fighters. You know what I mean? Like not like these low level fighters or MMA fighters, you know what I'm saying? So Pacquiao's legacy has actually been going up lately. Still at the age of 40, it's still actually he's making his legacy better while Floyd is affecting it by fighting these silly fights. So I think if he fights a real fighter like Pacquiao, his legacy will, even if he loses, he still took that chance, right? But like I said, or he could fight Crawford or Sean Porter or someone like that, and he'd get even more respect, maybe. You know what I mean? A younger, hungrier fighter, but Pacquiao's just as dangerous as them, and it's better for him to make money. So, like, no point. It'd be more of a risk to fight one of those younger guys because you're not gonna make as much money either. So, for me, Pacquiao is the best bet for him to make money-wise and career-wise to keep his legacy intact. But if he keeps on fighting these silly fights, MMA fighters, just to make money, like obviously it's good for him. Like I'm not hating on him. Good for him. He's making the money, easy money. But as a whole, for the boxing fans, not his obviously his die-hard fans aren't gonna care who he fights. They're still always gonna love him. But for all the other fans who look at boxing as a whole and they're not attached to one fighter. They just like boxing as a sport. They're not going to like someone keep on fighting these silly fights. it's just gonna, like, they're like it's kind of a disgrace in a sense, you know what I mean, that he's coming back just to fight these fights that mean nothing. Obviously for him they mean something, it's money wise, but his legacy, that's why people will never put Floyd Mayweather above Muhammad Ali and people like that. You know what I mean, Sugar Ray Leonard, even Pacquiao. They're not going to put him above that, even though he is undefeated, right? And he has a better record than these people, than these fighters that I mentioned, Pacquiao, Leonard, Muhammad Ali. They all lost, but still, people consider them better because of the way they went about their career. So that is a big factor in the way he's going about his career. He's been doing this ever since he beat Oscar De La Hoya. He's been doing this, and even more so now. Like, at least he was fighting, even though he was handpicking fighters years ago. He finally fought Pacquiao, obviously, after a long time, but he was handpicking fighters. He was fighting guys that you didn't really want him to see. At least he was fighting boxers, B-level boxers, but now he's just fighting MMA fighters who have no business in the boxing ring with his level of skill. Like, obviously these guys are good athletes. They're good fighters. They know some basic boxing skill, but they shouldn't be fighting at the highest level. Like, that's not right. And he's cashing in on it. And like I said, no, like, good for him, right? But as a fan, like, I don't hold anything. Like, I don't really care what he does, but I'm just speaking as like if he wants to be considered the best, but maybe he doesn't even care, right? This going about the career like this is only going to affect his career negatively, even though it's easy wins. Like I said, the way you go about your career is how someone will rate your career at the end when you finally do never fight again. They're gonna look at you like, this guy fought everyone. This guy didn't care. Like, look at what Wilder's doing right now. He's fighting everyone. He's probably the best heavyweight fighter for that. He doesn't care about who he fights. He fights the best available options. Tyson Fury, what's his name? Luis Ortiz twice. Berman Stavern, like Dominic Brazil. Like, he's fighting every possible top contender he can. And then you have Anthony Joshua, who's not doing that, you know what I mean? So it's like, he'll be remembered more. Like, that's why people will remember Wilder even more, because he's taking the risk and he's still winning. So, I mean, you know what I mean? But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Who do you want Floyd Mayweather to fight next? I want Pacquiao, but if not Pacquiao, like I said, at least a decent level boxer. At this point, even if he did fight someone like at Berto's level, that would be okay because he's been out for so long. But if he fights an MMA fighter, come on. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't have anything negatively to say about that. Good for him. He makes easy money. But as a fan, you don't want to obviously see that. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Subscribe, like my video, share my video. And let me know if you want me to talk about what topics to talk about, because I haven't been making videos for a long time. So let me know if there's any topics you want me to talk about. Thank you, guys.